part 2 segment. Now, Candace and myself, Adrian, we're going to talk about women's healing.
Okay.
So, you gave us a really deep perspective on men's healing, and now we're going to cover the other side of things.
Yes.
You want to start or you want me to start?
You start.
Okay. So, I actually do want to kind of go back to our original idea of men's healing versus women's healing, just for a second.
Yeah.
And I want to say men heal in a more projective, acquisitional manner. And I'm going to explain that. Whereas women heal in a more introspective, what's the word I'm looking for? Internal and self-growth sort of manner. Like the way we heal already and the way we think about healing innately is different.
Mm-hmm.
So most men that aren't healed yet, because the things you talked about, I think really do produce real healing. But the way some men may see it is, okay, I'm hurt. Let me go make more money. Let me go get a better job. Let me go cop this new whip. Let me go get a new chick. Let me go do these things in acquisitional. Let me go get something, right? Let me go purchase something, or let me level up in my business. Or, you know what? I've always wanted to buy this. It's time. Like, let me bring things to life that I never got a chance to bring to life to make me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's acquisitional, or it's projection. Kind of, okay, let me project this hurt onto someone else, and then I don't feel it anymore. It's gone now. So to them, it's healing, but it's not. It's creating more brokenness. So I think that's one thing that if someone who is doing that can recognize it and transform it into the things that you were speaking on, that were actually digging deep, reflection, everything that you talked about, they can kind of transform from that acquisitional nature of let me just buy, get, spend, because there's always going to be something else you want. That's never ending. You'll never reach. I don't care how much money you have. You'll always want more money. So I just want to throw that out there. Whereas for women,
we turn
inward. Well, and we take a step back. That's the biggest thing, I think, with women wanting to heal. We say, okay, I'm hurt. Like, first of all, we make it known. Don't we make it known?
We make it known. We make it known to everyone around us. And we're very emotional with it. And
oh my goodness, so emotional with it.
And I can say, as women, we do need to have a little bit more self-control in that area. But we do make it known.
Yes. We're going to come back to that self-control, because I think that's true for both sides. We got to have self-control. But first of all, we acknowledge it. Like you mentioned, you got to acknowledge the hurt. Because if you don't think it's there, how can you fix it?
Mm.
You're not listening to that leaky sink, that leaky faucet, drip, drip, drip. You're just ignoring it. How you going to fix it? So acknowledging the pain, first of all, we acknowledge our hurt. And togetherness, like we go inward first and then we reach out. So the first step, I think, for most women to truly heal and what we do is we start, like, whatever our version of introspection is. So it could be meditation, could be prayer, could be, a lot of times it's journaling, writing out those feelings, because if we get hit with a wave of emotions and we don't write it out or speak it out or yell it out, it's like it will stay. And something that you said earlier, a lot of people are afraid to be alone. If you don't stop and sit and go to that place where you have to be alone and face whatever you're dealing with, you will not heal. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there right now. You will never heal if you do not know how to be alone.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people don't, like, this is men and women, don't want to be alone because they don't want to really deal with the reality of feeling those emotions and reflecting on, oh, this was me, or oh, I am really like this, or it it's kind of like a slap in the face, but at the same time, that's that's a growing point right there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
accept it and fix it. It's literally that simple, but we tend to make things more difficult for ourselves when it really is easy. It really is easy. We put the extra on it.
That's
We
true.
do.
Mm.
Like, by 1,000, we put the extra on it.
Yeah. And you just gotta learn to be by yourself. So I know, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be vulnerable
Okay.
and I'm gonna talk about what I did to heal most recently because I went through an intense healing journey. Anybody who knows me knows that 2018 about broke me in half. 2019 was about rebuilding, and 2020 is about continuing and growing and pushing forward and transforming. So that 2018 hurt. As soon as 2019 hit, I went into like heal mode 3000, right? I was I was on heal mode 3000. And for me it started with the things about myself I wanted to change. So I was inconsistent with a lot of things. So my word for that whole year was intent. And I wanted to be intentional about being more consistent, more present, more grounded spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything. I was on this crusade against the negativity that had plagued me in the years prior. So I started with what? Fitness. I got so serious about my fitness journey. And then I went right into church and God. Yes. Look, you were saying it. I went straight to God. And it started, I've always been someone who felt spiritually connected, but I wasn't rooted. I wasn't rooted in Christ, and I needed to be rooted. So that meant getting better about having a church home. I got baptized.
All
I
right.
sure did. I got baptized, and I really got in my word. And me and my sister to this day, what's the first thing we say to each other when we off?
Bible study.
Bible study. Get in your word.
Yes.
We'll look each other dead in the eye and say, "Get in your word," and it's like yes. So I've gotten better at that. I've made sure my goal was to heal family relationships and get closer to my family. Um, my career, I started doing better things at work, taking on new projects. I got published. My publication just came out January 29th. Hey!
God is good.
God is good. I'm gonna go into that more later. That's not important right now. But what I'm saying is like my research getting published and all of these beautiful things that I was like, let me focus on me. Because if I don't go to the source of where all the brokenness is, how am I going to fix it? Oh, when I started journaling and writing, I started writing again. I journaled every single day that I was good or bad. I started writing it all down. I took every negative hurt emotion and put it all out on paper and to myself. And then I prayed on it. So not only did I keep it was still a me journey. And what I'm trying to say is, you can't rely on other people for your healing because they're not going to ever be responsible for your ability to heal. You have to take your own responsibility and heal on your own before you reach out to someone else. Because it is important, that togetherness, that fellowship, that is so important. But until you wrestle with it one-on-one, just you and that pain, and just no one is there to save you when you have nothing, but it's just you and that pain, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna deal with this, I'm gonna work through this, I'm gonna face it, because it's scary, right? But God didn't give us a spirit of fear. So if you face that and you go into it like, I can handle this, I can face this, and yes, I might cry the whole time I'm writing, but guess what, tomorrow's a new day. Joy gonna come in the morning. I'm okay. So it's like you have to face it, wrestle with it, deal with it. And I don't care if you are a singer-songwriter or someone who just likes to write poetry, or you're a runner, or whatever it is that helps you wrestle through your pain. Do that first. Like, face it. Do that. Some sort of introspective journey, like meditation. I would meditate in the sauna. I still do. So I would go to the gym, I would work out, and then I go in the sauna and I meditate. And I would sit and I would meditate. And so I would disconnect from all electronics. And then I learned how to meditate so well that even when other people came in the sauna, maybe their music was too loud, or they talking, I could tune them out because I had already had that control in my mind that my mind was building up so strong that I could still go to that place that brought me peace. So when you harness that level of inner peace, no one can take that from you. No one can rob you of that peace. So you have to fight through all those hurts, pains, and trauma and those evil spirits that are attacking. You have to fight that first before you can have that peace and that joy that no one can come in and snatch from up under you.
Yeah, and it's important to redevelop your definition of love as well.
Girl.
Love in general.
That's a good one.
We have to define it as unconditional. Unconditional, not only to ourselves but to those around us as well, because that's one of the things that breaks us, both sides, both men and women. We look for something in return, or it's just not, it's unconditional. It's not unconditional. We think it is. We really think it is, but it's not. And that's where that quiet time comes in handy, because it helps you realize that was not unconditional love. That was not how you're supposed to love. That's not how that was supposed to be.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that, sister, because even in my past relationships, some of the things that I did, I realized I thought I was loving that person. I wasn't loving them. I wasn't unconditionally loving them. I had conditions on them. And I was holding them to conditions that they really couldn't meet. And instead of loving them for who they were and still realizing, okay, it's okay if I need to walk away, I still love you for who you are, I was so busy trying to get them to fit into the mold of what I wanted them to be. I wasn't even helping them in that sense. I was probably causing more hurt. And to take that ownership and know, like, okay, I did that wrong. Or maybe I got out of character or out of pocket, and learning again self-control. Even though these emotions are so strong, I'm gonna go to that self-control thing now. Those emotions get so strong and we get so wrapped up in them, sometimes we lose control. We spiral out of control, and we cannot do that. We have to be strong-willed, strong-minded, and rooted enough that we can act accordingly. Because if you don't do that inner healing, for that inner peace, that quiet time and spiritual alignment. See, I think, like we talked about off the grid, y'all, your spirit has to be aligned by yourself before you can align your spirit with someone else. How can you align your spirit with your partner if your spirit is off, it's all out of whack? So once you get that spiritual alignment, no matter what you believe, you have a spirit. You have an inner voice. You have a spirit. So you have to align that. And then once it's aligned, you got to control it. You got to control those emotions, that anger, that hurt. You got to learn to control it and harness it. Coping mechanisms. We got to talk about how to cope, or how to healthy ways to manage it. What do you think are some healthy ways to manage, to heal?
I think some healthy ways to manage, for me personally, has been journaling, writing. I've never been a big writer. I've never been a big reader. Until I've, explored or gotten deep into this healing process, it's shown different, it's brought different desires into my heart. And writing has been one of them. And that is one I would really lean on. Because with that writing, you don't know what can come from it. Books can come from it. New ideas. It takes you down so many avenues, and then you have that option to go back and look at where you were and where you are now. And for me personally, writing has been a great avenue for healing and coping. Um, the gym has been another one. I think that's another great coping mechanism to heal, because to me, when you sweating all those toxins out, you sweating all that negative energy out, you sweating out all them, bad spirits, all that stuff. You sweating it out, you getting it out as best as you can, and you come out renewed. You just came out from fighting, you know. You get it out. But those have been my two main coping mechanisms.
Okay.
I second that. That's been my top two. I'm all about fitness. Even if I'm in the house just doing a quick workout, sometimes I wake up in the morning in a bad mood, groggy. I'll drop down and make myself do push-ups. I'm like, come on, Adrian, you can do it. Drop down, do some push-ups. I'm re-energized. I done jump started my day already on warrior mode. And that's another thing. As women, sometimes we really do get in this victim mentality because we may have been victimized in the past. We're not victims. We're warriors. We're fighters. We're survivors. So we can let go of that victim mentality and transform into warriors.
Yes, that victim mentality is what keeps us in bondage, and that's how we stay where we are, by keeping that victim mentality. You really have to come up out of it. It's 2020 now. We cannot continue to be in bondage, and that's on both ends. We can't. There's a lot more out here for all of us. There's so many different things you can do, so many avenues you can take, so many people to help. Like,
oh yeah,
so many people out here need help. Nobody has it together. we can all better each other in so many ways. So that victim mentality, that woe it's me mentality has to go. We have to take responsibility and change the things that we can, and the things that we can't change,
give it to God.
That's it. Give it to God, and that's it. And I'm saying it like this because it really is that easy. Like I said before, it is that easy. We just put so much on it, and so many what ifs, or, well, what if this isn't, well, what. Half the time we already have the answer. We're making excuses. That's what we're doing. We make so many excuses, and we're not listening, whether it's to ourselves or whatever's around us. We have to pay attention to everything around us is speaking to us at every moment. So it's all a matter of listening, and just get rid of that victim mentality, because it's not serving anybody in 2020. Sorry.
That's right.
I don't mean to be
Period,
hard. I don't mean to be so hard, but it is that easy. The solution is that easy, but it's just getting out of that struggle mentality.
Yeah.
Get out your own way.
Right. Get out your own way. One more, what, you said something else too. Togetherness. That's the word that we brought up.
Yes.
And after you're finished looking inward, as women, a lot of times we will reach out. We're not afraid to say, I'm hurting, I need help. I need support. I need love. Like, we can verbalize and vocalize those things in a way that I hope that our men start to recognize and start to mimic and start to vocalize when you are hurt and need help. Because we're quick to say, hey baby, did you go to therapy? When the last time you been when the last time you been to church? When the last time you talked to so and so? When's the last time? We're quick to hold each other accountable for those things that evoke togetherness. Or we're quick to say, hey, come over, let's have a girls' night. Let's be together. Let's go out. Let's be together. Let's talk about it. Let's paint our nails and have a spa day or whatever. And we're going to talk as women and lift each other up and focus on that empowerment. So I think that's step 2, is allowing other strong women in your circle to help empower you. Because yes, you can do a lot of healing on your own and by yourself and with God. I'm all about that. But you also have to remember we are not so solitary creatures. We are meant to be in groups and together and social. We are social creatures. Even the most quote unquote antisocial people, we need each other. So remembering it's okay to need your brothers and sisters and your best friends and your acquaintances and your coworker relationships. You need those relationships. We need them to survive. And just like with children, raising children, what do they always say? It takes a what?
Village.
They didn't say it takes you by yourself in the dark, alone in a corner. It takes a village. It takes a village. And it takes a village to also continue to better yourself and be empowered and be uplifted. Because what's the first thing I tell you when I'm in a dark place? Sister,
I need you.
I need you. I'm quick to be like, I don't even say I want to spend time with you. I literally say, I need you. No, not I don't want, I need you. And when we can open our mouths and say that to the people that we love, the people that we trust, and be there for each other, oh my goodness. You want to talk about healing?
Yes, it's important to confess with what is within, because when you let it out, it's out. And then don't you normally like walk away, feeling better and
Light.
You're good to go. Like, what was I worried about that for? What was I, thinking about? How dare I think about this like this? When you get it out, it changes your perspective on a whole lot. So that's very important.
Yeah. Oh, and I got one more point, unless you got more, sis. Healing is a journey and a continuum. It is never ending. It never stops. We are always healing. And if you compare it to life, you may go through life. You're going to hit some bumps on the road. You're going to get in a few accidents. You're going to fall. You're going to get scraped up, get a few bruises. You might even suffer a few broken bones. Every time you hit a bump, you got to heal from that. You got to come back from that. Every time you get a cut, even if it's a paper cut, think about how a paper cut feels when you first get it. Don't it hurt? It's small, right? But it hurts so bad. It stings every time you go. Let's say it's on your hand. Every time you go to wash your hands, you feel it. You're reminded of it. But then, guess what? After a week, usually gone. It heals. We have to be patient with ourselves when we have to heal all over again. Because you're going to have to keep healing. You're never going to be fully healed. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate to break it to you. You're never going to be fully healed, but you can continue to keep healing every time something happens and it gets easier. You become more in tune with yourself. You become stronger. You become a better version of you every single time. And that forgiveness that you talked about, forgiving yourself, forgiving those who hurt you or wronged you in the past, forgiving those who left you stranded out to die. I know some people who have literally been left for dead and had to forgive that person. Like, forgiveness goes so much further. And you should never have a spirit of hate. I don't care. You should never hate anyone. Forgive. And so once you learn to even just forgive yourself and go through that process of healing as many times as you need to, then you're going to be all right.
Yeah, healing, we're going to use healing as getting better.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to heal, you're getting better. And when people think of healing, I feel like they think of it as some I'm this horrible emotional wreck, mental health, like, just, it's not viewed in a positive way. But I just challenge people to just look at it as getting better every day. And simplifying it to that. Working towards getting better every single day at the things that you need to work on. Because we all know what we need to work on. And a lot of it we just put to the back of our heads and forget about it. Or at least think we forget about it until it shows up again. And then we want to blame this person and blame that person. Let's just work on it. Let's work on getting better every single day.
And find what works for you. Because just because I like to journal and I like to work out and I like to do this doesn't mean those same things will work for you. So, although I agree that some sort of physical fitness, do joyful movement. If you hate running, don't run. If you like to dance, go dance. Like, figure out what works for you to help you heal because no one can walk in your shoes. I always use the island. You're standing on your own little personal island, and you got other little islands around you that are other people. Your island grows its own fruit. It has its own bearing trees. You might have similar fruit to someone else. You might even have the same trees as someone else, but you're still responsible for your own island. So cultivate that, nurture it, build it up so that way when it's time for you to go visit someone else's island, you're not bringing destruction. You're not bringing pain. You are bringing a fruit that they may not have because we all have something to offer someone else. So if you remember that every time you walk forth in your journey, you know that you have something beautiful to offer, something to give, and you're not spreading that continuous cycle of hurt. So,
And that's where, like I said before, that's where you find your real, true heart's, desire right there. Do that healing process and doing those, finding those coping mechanisms that may spark into something much bigger. So it's all beneficial. It's not a dragging process that uh, men or women should be afraid of. It's a real powerful process, and it teaches you to be stronger. It it really builds you, and it shows you things about yourself that you never even knew or realized because it was just all buried. It was all buried under these negative things. This, the past hurts, the traumas, the this and that was just there. And that getting better every day, that healing, it's pulling it away a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. So
That is amazing. Yo, I'm sitting here. I don't know if y'all noticed. This might have been the quietest I ever been on my podcast because it's still my podcast. They came in and took it over for 2 segments, 2 out of 3 segments.
you got that right.
They came in and they took it over. But it was just amazing just sitting back and just listening to these women and going through their process on how they heal. A woman's perspective on healing. The things that they've been through, how they overcome these things. And the funny part is, they talked about physical fitness, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? With the men, because I think men naturally do that. Like, men, we naturally go towards physical things. And so I didn't touch on that, but I do agree that men should, if that's what you're into, you should definitely look into physical fitness as well. But I just thought that was funny how like y'all talked about like physical fitness and writing and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, you gotta work on your spirit and all of that. Because I think we all have feminine and masculine energy. Every person has that. The thing is figuring out how do you need to balance those energies? When does the feminine energy need to come out and when does the masculine energy need to come out? And so it was just amazing just sitting here listening to them talk. Like I was in a little daze or whatever. But really I just want to kind of just wrap this podcast up. This is the third part. That's crazy. We did 3 parts of this. 3 parts. But this has been, I think, very valuable and really needed for men and women. Because healing, like you said, everything, it's a daily process. It's not really healing. You're getting better every day. So I just want to thank everybody for that's going to be tuning into this. I want to thank Adrian and Candace for coming out and just sharing the platform with me, even though they low key took it over. They took it over for a little bit, but I appreciate their perspective, and I think that's definitely needed out here. So I just want to thank everybody for listening to the King of the Berries podcast. We out.